Oh, sorry guys. I just realized my mic was fully shut off. That's great. Um, let's start again. What I was saying there, sorry, is NQ's really got my eye this morning. NQ has broken above this trend line, which it's failed multiple times. Since breaking below it, it failed it once, twice, three times, four times, five times, all in the first touch of the trend line. Yesterday, we managed to, break above and spike above higher, and now we're getting a bit of a pullback in our Globex session, kind of pushing into that trend line. So this will be a big test for NQ. If NQ fails to hold this trend line, now I'm not saying it has to, just touch it and go, but if it does fail to hold and we get a pullback, you have to think 13,930 is definitely a target, your 20-day, 21-day moving average, sorry. And potentially a bit of a firecracker as far as taking out the last 2 days' moves. Moving over to the ES, the ES is back in an area that you would expect it to be in, right? The market spent a lot of time up in this range and put in value, right? This is a value zone. It's a value area where the market can find two-sided trade from both sides. So we had talked about, if you've been following along here, we talked about how the odds greatly favored this liquidation to take place. The longer the buyer sat up here without really getting any kind of acceleration, really kind of told the picture and told the story that the potential for this move was to take place. And we talked about, potentially looking around 41.40 to really jump in on the buy side and look for this return recovery back into this value range. So now that value range has been recovered and we're back inside it, you have to keep in mind that the potential is there for the seller to start finding some sort of value up here. And what I mean by that is they may start to do stronger business. So obviously the sellers didn't defend very well in the last 2 days, and I think a lot of that comes from the fact that they just got caught selling inside of one selling below the 21. We talked about that. One selling below the 50, we've talked about that, and two, they're selling into somewhere that has found support prior, and the buyers really tend to jump on that 41.40 area of late to reverse the market. So they really got caught in a bad spot. Now that we're up here, let's see if they put in a little bit more juice and they're able to push back on this market a little bit more. That's kind of what I'm watching to see. This breakout, if we can get above this and break out. If this happens on a third straight day, which sometimes these rallies come in three, so it's something to keep in mind. But if they rally this again, I'm really going to start to look to fade this market back towards this value area and kind of play it how you would a balance range, as this being, potentially your point of control because it's where the most business has been done over the shortest time frame of, a couple weeks here. So that's what I'm watching for on the ES. One thing that I do know is the volume over the last 2 days has been absolute garbage. Especially yesterday, it was deplorable. The sectors didn't follow along. I don't know if you caught that webinar I put out last night that I did with the TradeUp trading room. We talked about how the sectors just didn't match up to the move in the indexes. So when you're not getting the big leaders pushing the market higher. For instance, tech is something I always look at. And when tech is under 1% green and you're getting the type of rally we got yesterday, something smells funny, right? Something doesn't smell right. Don't get me wrong, on low volume, buyers can push this market to the moon with absolutely nothing. That's just a fact. It's a buy market. It will continue to be a buy market until something actually changes. But as it stands right now, unless the seller re-enters the market somewhere up here in this 49, like they did in Globex, or against our all-time high, just above 58 there, the potential for this market to continue this rally is definitely there. Now, early on here, 24 area, 28 area, somewhere in that range is something I'm most certainly looking at. This was marked as 27, if you remember, if you've been following along again. This had a 27 line. I've turned that into an actual potential supply zone at this point. Or a demand zone, depending, or support resistance, whatever you want to look at them as. I'm turning this into a potential support zone as far as we broke above it and looking back and potentially retesting it. This hold here would line up with the potential of this rallying higher, making a new all-time high, and then a potential fade will come into the market with a little bit more risk reward setup. Likewise, on the upside, if 49 can't or can hold, or the all-time high. I really, if we start to get stronger volume, I really want to look to fade against these two levels first and foremost, and just let them play out. The fact is they've worked very well over the short time frame over the last 2 weeks. So we want to continue to lean on levels that have worked strongly in the past until those levels are taken out. And once they're taken out, we can flip those to support and look to trade them the opposite direction. So, yesterday I had a bias that we potentially would go inside day. I kind of have that same bias today. And it's about a 60-40. And the only reason it's a 60-40 is one, they kind of caught me off guard yesterday with the trend day. I think Powell had a lot to do with that, getting on the mic, but they kind of caught me off guard with this. I was really leaning towards the potential of a rotational balance day, and of course that didn't work out, which caused me, to only take 1/3 of this move on profit when we bought against our level here at the 0306 level in the room, and that became because there was absorption on the tape, and we kind of just or I kind of just said, well, this is a signal that I potentially want to turn short, especially with my bias being rotational. Now, that didn't work out. I ended up taking early profit and, obviously missed the rest of the move. But again, today, I won't be surprised if we get an inside day, but I also won't be surprised if they push into this strong support here on the upside for the laggards, find a bid and really rally this market some more. And now, like I said, with NQ being where it is, I think NQ is going to be quite a leader today. It should be, at least if it can find support there and tech starts to rally. I think that the other markets will most likely have to follow along. But with that being said, that's kind of what I'm looking at coming into today. If you're ever interested in joining us, by all means, the link is in the bio below. Please subscribe if you have not. And from that, I will catch you guys again.